This is a weekly summary of interesting news that is relevant for my distributed systems lecture at the Eastern University of Applied Sciences in Switzerland. My name is Thomas Bocek, and today we will discuss 5 topics. The biggest news, of course, is the announcement of the challenge task winner of the distributed systems lecture. Challenge task in this lecture was the design and implementation of a distributed system from scratch. To pass this course, the prototype had to meet several requirements: a working system, most importantly, load balancing with failover, containerization. It needs to have a front end, JOT authentication, and persistent storage. And this year's focus was also on using and getting familiar with AI tools. I saw quite many good solutions. We had lots of students participating in this challenge task, and I saw very good submissions, but one particular solution stand out. And so now I'm announcing the challenge task winner of the Distributed Systems Lecture 2026. And now I need some drum rolls, please. And the winner is... Joris Hensler with Kahoot Lite. Congratulations. Joris built a real-time distributed quiz platform inspired by Kahoot, where a host creates and manages multiple choice quizzes and players join via a game pin, and it adds live video streaming of participants via WebRTC. And the stack is a Go backend with Gin using WebSockets. It has a Vue.js frontend, PostgreSQL for the backend using replication, and Valkey for distributed state, LiveKit for the WebRTC video with Stunner as the turn-stun relay. And it runs on a self-hosted Kubernetes cluster with a Cilium gateway API, JOT-based authentication with short-lived and refresh tokens, and bundled with also some testing scripts, load balancing testing scripts with Hey and also K6. So a very nice solution, and this is also available online. So I already logged in. I can create here new quizzes. I can enable live stream. So this is quite impressive. So again, congratulations. This is a really nice solution, and you're the winner of this semester's challenge task. Congratulations. Now, the next topic is about internet connectivity. It's about the following article here. According to CNN, Iran is trying to turn undersea internet cables into a source of power and money. And the plan is to charge the world's largest tech companies for using the cables that pass through these waters with vague warnings that traffic could be disrupted if they don't pay. It's unclear whether the companies can even comply because sanctions block them from making such payments. They could use bitcoins, of course. But I'm not sure if this is a real threat, since these cables carry less than 1% of global international bandwidth. But if they were damaged, the repairs could take a while, and that's probably where the actual threat lies. But in any case, I want to point out that undersea cables are critical infrastructure, and over 99% of international internet traffic travels through these cables, not satellites. So you have all sorts of traffic, banking, communication, cloud traffic between these continents. So even if this particular threat turns out to be small, it's a reminder of how much we depend on a small number of cables that are hard to protect and slow to repair. The next article is again with critical infrastructure, and this is DNS in that case. And this article is about court win for the Swiss internet provider Init7 in a fight over website blocking. Prosecutors in the cantons of Waadt and Wallis ordered Swiss providers to block several websites, including the site of a climate protest movement. And large providers like Swisscom and Sunrise complied, but Init7 refused and went to court. And now Init7 has its first court win. The Waadt Criminal Appeal Chamber overturned the blocking order tied to the climate group's website because it found the link between the site and the alleged offenses wasn't strong enough. But the court left the bigger legal question open, so it didn't rule on whether these blocks are lawful in general, and their argument was both legal and technical. Init7 argues on the technical side that DNS blocks are easy to get around. You just switch to a different DNS service, and there are many public providers such as 1.1.1 from Cloudflare. There's then the 8.8.8.8 from Google and Quad9 from Switzerland. And you even can run your own resolver, so it's not really an enforcement here. And on the legal side, and I have to mention I'm not a legal expert, so here Init7 questioned whether the existing law actually allows authorities to force providers to block sites at all. They argued that network blocking is a serious invasion on freedom of communication, so it needs a clear legal basis. The prosecutors based their orders on a section of the criminal code that covers seizure, treating the website as tools used in a crime, and Init7 says seizure applies to specific data or object, not to forcing a third party to block access, and that the general law here is not specific enough. So thanks to Init7 and keep fighting. Our next topic is about AI, and I reported earlier about the leaderboard at Amazon and token maxing. Well, it turns out Amazon has now shut down this leaderboard. Quick reminder on this setup: Amazon had an internal leaderboard that scored employees based on how much they use the company's AI developer tools. And the idea, according to Amazon, was to raise awareness of how AI can speed up the work. And the problem was that people, in order to climb the rankings, they were just running unnecessary tasks just to get those points and climb on the leaderboard. So now Amazon shut this down. The next topic is about AI and open source. Yasmin recommended me a video here featuring Malus. It's fun to watch, and even though it's satire, it's already happening just on a smaller scale. So I can recommend go check out this video here.
Big risk to open source. I want to introduce you to Mike Nolan, the CEO of Malus Corp.
My name is Mike.
And here the pattern I'm seeing is there's a real shift in how developers manage dependencies. Now, before AI, whenever you needed a piece of functionality, even something small, the usual flow was to search for a dependency. You find a library, add it to your project. So you pull in someone else's maintained code rather than writing it yourself. That made sense. Why reinvesting something that already exists and is tested? After AI, or what's currently happening is that that I've observed is for a few hundred lines of code, I often skip the library entirely and just let an LLM generate the code directly. It's faster, there's no extra dependency to manage, and the model produces something tailored to exactly what I need. So a whole category of small dependencies is quietly disappearing. But there's a limit. It will be difficult to replace bigger dependencies anytime soon, because a serious library is not a one-time block of code. It keeps evolving, new standard gets implemented, new feature gets added, security holes get patched, bugs get fixed, and the LLM generated code is just sitting in your repository and does nothing of that. So the more a dependency does and the more it keeps moving, the less it makes sense to replace it with a static snapshot for a model. So thanks again for this pointer to Yasmin, and I also can recommend this video. It's really fun to watch. The last topic is about how people learn programming. It's the following article here, and the slow death of programming books. This article describes how this thick wall of programming books in bookstores have largely disappeared. Computer book sales were down nearly 17% in the first 9 months of 2023, the author reported, and by 2024-2025, the industry tracker simply stopped naming this category. Books overall are fine. It's specifically the ones teaching you to build software that are declining. The clearest sign, Stack Overflow is now getting about 3,800 questions a month, roughly what it got in 2008. And the author's deeper point is that the book was good at one thing, forcing you to be slow. He argues that for a programmer, real knowledge always came from the act of typing code yourself, from doing the work. And a chatbot explains a concept in as many words as you ask. You close the tab and you don't remember it because you didn't type it. He's not purely nostalgic though. He says today's kids learning by chatting with an agent isn't worse, it's just different and working with a higher level of abstraction. And here I highlighted this. The kid who is right now learning to code by chatting with an agent is not a worse programmer than I was at 12. That kid is a different programmer and working at a higher level of abstraction than I ever did at that age. So this is also my point of view. The abstraction is currently changing. We see a higher level of abstraction. And with respect to learning, my point is that's true in a way what he mentioned, but there's also an upside that the article underplays in a way. Learning with AI is far more directed than reading a book. You can ask specific questions and follow-ups, and you can say, explain me this part differently. A book cannot react to where you're stuck, and we may be losing the slow hands-on typing, but we're gaining a much more targeted way to learn. That's it for the spring semester. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the fall semester.